Warcry is a game of skirmish combat where you control a warband that fights across the Bloodwind Spoil. Your warband is made up from fighters from the Age of Sigmar range with specific fighter cards and abilities. To play a game, first you need a warband. And to build your warband, first you must choose a faction. Then select from 3 to 15 fighters from the chosen faction and not exceeding 1,000 points. One fighter must have the leader rune mark, and you can't have more than one fighter with this rune mark in your warband. Once everyone has a warband, you roll a d6 for priority. The highest roll has priority. Next, starting with the one who lost priority, divide your warband into 3 battle groups: dagger, shield, and hammer. Each battle group must have at least one fighter and cannot be more than half your warband, and the shield must contain at least 1/3 of your fighters. Using the battle plan cards or rolling from the list in the book, first determine the terrain. This will tell you how to set up your battlefield. Next, deployment. Using the deployment cards or rolling from the book again, you use this map to determine where your battle groups will be set up. The player with priority gets to determine which deployment plans are used by each player. After setting up the battle groups into their assigned places, find out the victory conditions also from the card or from the deck. And lastly, determine the twist, either again from the book or from the deck of cards. Each game is divided into battle rounds. These rounds have 3 phases: the hero phase, the reserve phase, and the combat phase. The hero phase. At the beginning of each battle round, the players roll 6 six-sided dice, referred to as the initiative dice. The player with the most dice that have a value not matching any other dice takes initiative. If it is tied, then a roll-off is done for initiative with the highest gaining initiative. Keep any dice that have matches and pairs, triples, or quads for later use. At this point, each player receives a wild dice. This dice and any saved dice from previous battle rounds can be kept for later battle rounds or assigned to make an additional single, added to a single to make a double to make a triple, or added to a triple to make a quad. When the players add up their single dice again, if a different player has more singles now, they gain initiative. If it's tied now and it wasn't before, then another roll-off is made. Next is the reserve phase. In battle rounds after the first, the reserve fighters from the deployment stage will arrive on the battlefield in the same manner as during the setup. Finally, in the combat phase, the player with priority selects a fighter to activate. When a fighter is chosen to activate, they can do any 2 actions, including the same action twice, and 1 ability. Actions the fighters can choose are move. The fighter moves its move characteristic. Attack. The fighter chooses a target and a weapon to use, then roll the number of dice equal to the attack characteristic, then determine hits based on the strength characteristic versus the toughness characteristic of the target. Finally, deal damage according to the hit and critical hit amount. If the target reaches its wound total, it is taken down and removed from play. Disengage. If a fighter is within 1 inch of an enemy fighter, they can disengage, moving 3 inches and ending its move at least 1 inch from any enemy fighters. Wait. If used for the first action, they end their activation but can make a second action later in the battle round. A fighter can use its ability before any action, between actions, or after the last action. To use an ability, check the rune marks of the fighter against the fighter abilities. If they match and you have the appropriate number of matching dice or more, you can spend those dice and do the selected ability. The battle rounds continue until the victory conditions are either met or the number of battle rounds has taken place that is stated in the victory conditions. And that's a simple walkthrough of Warcry. Didn't get into anything advanced, it's just the basics there. That should be enough to get you a simple understanding of the game, help you along your way if you decide to play. We'll be doing some games on the channel soon, and that will give you a better idea of seeing the game played, how all of this fits together. In the comments, I will put links on Amazon so that you can find some of this stuff for Warcry and get yourself started. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.